Hi, my name is Rachel Campbell, and I'm going to be showing you a institutional technology plan presentation. And on here, I'm just going to show you some things that you can incorporate into that plan. One of the very first things that you want to incorporate is software and information maintenance. With that, you want to make sure that you've installed current software that's really going to be used in your district. Once you've installed it, make sure that you keep it up to date so it keeps working smoothly. And next, you need to train your staff on how to use that software, starting with the IT personnel. Then they can teach the teachers and students on how to use it. And then making sure that there's instruction manuals that are available, because it would be hard to incorporate every single thing into a training session. Next is to make sure that there's a lot of security. When you talk about technology, security is a really important topic, just because you want to make sure that you're not opening yourself up to viruses. One of these ways is to make sure that you limit who is logging in and out, having a username, password. You can see who's logging in, logging out. Guests should be given login credentials. Say you have a sub in there, and you can just kind of see what they're on. Make sure that you follow the software license agreement. If it says, only install on 20 computers, make sure you only have it on 20 computers. Make sure that you've installed a firewall to protect yourself against any viruses, and also do not download any unknown software. I know my district has it to where you have to have a certain username and password to even download some of that stuff. With infrastructure, we're talking about how are we going to put this stuff in the classroom? How is it going to work well together? Where are we going to plug it in? One of the biggest things with the newer technology is that we need to be able to connect it to the internet. Sometimes this is through a wire, sometimes it's wirelessly. If we go the wireless route, we need to make sure that we install some boosters just to incorporate for all of those devices that are being added on, and that it doesn't slow down the internet. We also need to train everybody on how to access the network. That way we have a username, password, and that we're using it for the proper things. We also need to map electronic devices to the network. So that way that they're just connected to one another. I can print from my computer, I can send it to this computer or this device, and just making sure it's all usable. The next thing I want to talk about is professional development. This needs to go into your plan. We as teachers need to make sure that we're always incorporating new technology. With that new technology, we need some training on how to actually operate it, how to incorporate it into our lesson plans. With technology, sometimes we might not know how to work a certain thing, so we need to learn how to troubleshoot some of the issues that come along. Privacy, rules, and regulations, these are just making sure that we're using this technology in the correct way. We're not sharing information that we shouldn't be using, and using the technology in the proper way. We also need to train the IT staff. They're the ones that are going to be installing the software, setting it up, making any repairs, showing people how to clean around these technology devices, or even cleaning it to make sure that they stay in good use, and just making sure that we're securing the network with all of these devices that are being added on. The next thing that could be added into your plan is strategies on how to use technical support. With any technology that you have, there are going to be some issues that arise, whether it's broken, we can't figure out how to do a certain aspect of it. So we need to make sure that we create different protocols on how to go about saying that there's something wrong. Maybe creating a support website where it has commonly, issues that you can read about and learn how to fix it. Create a checklist for reporting technology issues. Have you tried X, Y, and Z before you've contacted me? And then even creating a ticket system so you can tell the IT staff in a great way, like, hey, this is broken, rather than just stopping them in the hallway. Here's a technical support checklist that I came up with. It has some very common things that you can do before you actually contact the IT staff and say, hey, can you come fix this? It's just some really easy things to do. The next thing that you need to include in your plan is strategies on how to budget and audit the actual things that you have in your room and in classroom. So one of the things that you need to do is keep track of inventory, what technology you have in your classroom, technology that's in common areas, conduct an audit to make sure that everything is working properly and that it is actually being used, and then make that decision of whether you need to remove some technology to make room for some other new piece. Make sure that you really put in your budget for the school lines for new technology to get that, and that you put in some things about repairing the technology as well. Kind of going along with the previous slide, we need to talk about ways that we can properly get new technology and then dispose of that technology. This should not just be an administrator task. Teachers and staff really need to understand the ways that you fill out a purchase order, shop for the best deal around, looking at different websites, figuring out what technology would work best for you, and then adding it to your classroom and making sure that there's money for it. With new technology, kind of goes with the out of the old technology. Make sure that you train the teachers and staff on how to dispose of this unwanted technology, and then kind of take it out of your financial statements. Communication is really important in this because you want to make sure, as the IT staff side of it, that you're promoting training sessions to help out the teachers and staff. If you know that there's going to be an outage of the internet on this date, or they're going to work on something on this date, making sure that you're telling these people about it, because it is going to affect their day-to-day operations. And let them know if there's any upcoming changes. Have you changed the ticket system? Have you changed, the settings to something different? It'll be really helpful. And then the teachers, they really need to be able to communicate of like, hey, we really need more information on this software or this hardware, and then actually sign up for some of the training sessions. We talked about software. Now it's time to talk about the hardware, all of the physical things that we use. That's technology. We need to make sure that the staff or the IT staff is trained on how to repair this hardware, test it to make sure it's working okay before they ever gets in the classroom. We need to train on how to actually operate the hardware, do a couple things with it, test it, make sure it's good, organize the training guides because we're going to need something to refer back to in case something happens. Know a little bit about how to repair the hardware in case something breaks. Know where you can order parts in case you need that. And then dispose of unfixable hardware. There's going to be things that happen where we just can't fix it and we have to dispose of it. And then we also need to make sure that the teachers and students correctly use the hardware, so when they're using it, it's not going to break, that it's not going to mess up because we're doing something incorrectly. So that's it on this presentation. These are some really great things that you can incorporate into your plan. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.